How do we know how can we implement AI in our daily business? It is very common nowadays that we find everywhere on the internet, LinkedIn, on Google, a lot of use cases of what we can do with AI. So right now we can use ChatGPT to summarize meetings, we can increase our productivity, we can generate images, videos, and we can even ask them to perform more complex tasks. But those activities are always focused on the type of task itself, not on the use case that they want to solve. So how can we really look into our business and identify the different activities and know which ones can be replaced or can be improved by using AI? In today's video, we are going to talk about two common approaches of how we can try to find AI use cases. We are talking about the bottom-up approach or the top-down approach. We are going to see why is it more common to have bottom-up approaches in our daily use cases. And we are going to explore the importance of doing a top-down analysis and how can we do it to find the best AI use cases for our business. Let's go. So you want to implement AI in your business operations. How can you find the best use cases? Normally, there are two ways to approach this problem. Or you can start by looking into AI and its capabilities and investigate ChatGPT or OpenAI, investigate Azure AI Foundry or others, and you can list the different capabilities that they have to generate text, images, and others. And with those capabilities, then you can try to link them into your daily activities and see which ones can be improved by being replaced by those capabilities. So that is one way of doing. You start by doing a technical analysis of the capabilities and then you link them with your daily activities. And this approach is what it's called the bottom-up approach, because you start by the technical part and then you try to link them to the business. But then there's also another approach, the top-down approach. And in this approach, you start by looking into your business processes, you start by identifying the activities, and from those activities, you find the ones that can bring more value or can reduce more costs to the company by being replaced by AI. So in this situation, you start by analyzing the activities, identifying the ones that have better potential, and only after you go study the capabilities of AI. And these two approaches are really common in other use cases outside AI, but with AI, it's really important to define one of them. But when you visit daily LinkedIn or other social media or news about AI, it's very common for you to be flooded by the typical bottom-up approaches. And there is a logic reason for that. Because AI, or in this case, the Gen AI capabilities, they are a really trendy topic right now. And it is very common to have the most technical people being really interested in exploring AI, exploring the tools, and try to find use cases for them. And because it's more common to have these early adopters as technical people, it's also normal for us to see more in the news and in social media, in the posts, those types of approaches from bottom top, because they always start by exploring some capabilities, some technical capabilities, and then they try to build use cases. They try to find problems that can be solved with those capabilities. And so it's very normal that everywhere we see mostly bottom top approaches. But we discussed here another approach, the top down approach. And sometimes, or mostly, if you are more close to the business and you want to study and implement AI in your daily operations because it's in your strategy or is it in your roadmap, it is more effective if you go on a top-down approach, because you always start that approach by looking into your business, and that is where you want to solve the problems. Another factor that it's really handy for you to start this top-down approach is due to the fact that if you are not a technical person, or if you are not really an expert in the capabilities of Gen AI, it is very difficult for you to know if a certain task or a certain activity can be replaced by AI. We see in a lot of scenarios nowadays that different people simply don't know how they can use AI to replace certain tasks. So if you go on the top-bottom approach, a top-down approach, you are taking away the responsibility from you to identify or to know how AI can solve a certain activity, because you are focusing first on the business. So let's see how we can do this top-down approach. You can perform a top-down approach by using these 3 steps. The first step is all about identifying the processes and the activities. So in this case, you need to look into your daily operations. You need to identify the different processes that exist. For example, how to perform a sales order, how to produce a marketing campaign, how to onboard a new employee. So you need to identify these different processes. And for each one of these processes, you need to design and identify the different activities. So how does a client create a sales order? He first goes to a certain system and fills a certain form with the information. Then it goes to the warehouse, etc., etc. So you need to identify these activities. Then comes the second step. So after you having the different activities of the processes identified, then you need to classify them. And when I say classify here, I'm talking about telling how they are nowadays performed. Are they automatic activities, or are they activities produced by a system or a software, so somehow an automated task? Or is it a human task? And why do you need to do this classification? Because Gen AI, as we discussed on previous videos, Gen AI is a technology that resembles more a human behavior than automation. In terms of a triangle of precision, context variability, and creativity, automation is the best type of task for precision. So this means that if you already have a task that is performed by automation and it's performing well, mostly it means that that task is already in its most efficient type of task, and it should not be changed to a human or Gen AI task, because it will be costly and it will be less efficient. So the automated tasks, normally they are out of scope for Gen AI. And then you have the human tasks, and those are the ones that really can be replaced and can bring more value. So that is why you have the second step where you need to classify the activities. And finally, the third step is where you evaluate each of the human activities in terms of cost value. So are you talking about an activity that costs a lot to the company? Or are you talking about an activity that has a lot of value? And if we could even reduce the consumption that it takes to do this task, it would help. Or, for example, even if it is a task that is really repetitive and it's really hard for humans to do it without a human error. So you need to perform a cost value analysis on the activities. And after that evaluation, you are ready then to introduce AI. So as you might see, in these 3 steps, we never talked about AI capabilities because that is the last step to perform after this approach. Only after identifying those tasks, we should then go to expertise and say, we need to automatize this task, or we need to try to leverage Gen AI for these tasks. And then it starts the project. So you may see that this approach is really handy because first, you don't need to be an expert of AI. You just need to be an expert of your business. And second, you already start by identifying the best problems to be solved in your business. So that is why the top-down approach can, most of the times, suit better for businesses that want to introduce AI into their roadmap or into their strategy. Just one final remark about this approach. If you want to execute something like this in your company, if you want to do a study and analysis top down, do not ask your IT department to lead this initiative. Because as we said before, the IT department will most likely perform a bottom-up approach because most of the people there are tech-savvy people. So they will look first into AI capabilities because they already read that on the internet or they follow that topic. So they will look into the capabilities and then they will try to find use cases on your business to put those capabilities. So it will be very hard for them to look first on the business. And so if you want to really implement a top-down approach, go to your business operation. Look for employees that really understand the processes of the company, that can really identify the activities, that can explain those activities, or they can know, or they know how to do the different tasks, even if they are automated tasks in certain systems, or if they are produced by humans, but they know the activities. So they are the best person or the best employees to perform this analysis. Also, you can ask the help, for example, of project managers. The reason for that is because project managers, they are more linked to a business approach. So they are more used to look into processes, to look into activities in terms of resources, in terms of humans, systems, etc. So it will be more easy for them to design the processes or design the activities of your business. So if you want to do this approach, go to the business. Don't go to IT. IT will help after when this analysis is performed and you guys identify the list of tasks or activities you want to improve. That is the moment where you involve IT, because then you already have the problem identified and you can already give to IT certain activities that you want them to pick the capabilities of AI and link to those activities. So this is the best and most effective way for you to do a top-down approach. So in this video, we started by analyzing two different approaches of how you can introduce AI into your business operations. We talked about the bottom-top approach, where we start by analyzing AI capabilities, and after that we try to connect them to our business. And then we discussed about the top-down approach, where you start by analyzing the processes that your company or your business has, the activities that compose those processes, and then you classify and identify the best activities to be improved by AI capabilities. We also discussed how it is more common to find nowadays on the internet the bottom up approach, due to the fact that it's more common to have tech savvy people using this approach because they look first into the capabilities. But we also talked of how important it is for business to start the processes also, or to start the analysis with a top-down approach. I hope that this video could help more the business side of the companies, because I do believe that right now there is still a big gap of how non-tech savvy people can introduce AI in the business. And with this approach, at least you guys can start identifying the processes and the activities, even if you don't know the capabilities of AI, but you can already start filtering the places where you want to improve, and only that go to the more technical layer of AI. Follow me for more videos about AI, and have a great day.